Bam. All right. Good morning, guys. It is Monday, October 6th, 2025. Hopefully, you guys are having a good start to the week. I know we are, despite it being a sloppy day down in Cincinnati. Look, a W is a W, and we should take a W for what it's worth. But all things aside, if you're going to play down to your opponent, expect to not have a lot of postseason success. There has been, outside of one game, the Lions, not necessarily the most impressive when you look at the grand scheme of the caliber of opponent we have played. Houston taking care of business with Baltimore does not make that win look as impressive or as good as it was. And then we really let Cincinnati kind of fart around too long, in my opinion. Also, Terrion Arnold starting to become a liability. All right, that dude's starting to become a liability. But we will be talking about right off the rip, Drake May, Steph Diggs, Star and Patriots win versus the Bills. Now, I did have some money on this game as well, though didn't quite hit on my parlays. I did call the New England upset. Unfortunately, should have just left that as a single standalone bet. It is what it is. But New England in Sunday Night Football. I know it sounds weird to say, but did they shock the world, or did anybody else notice it? Yesterday was just that weird week of football. When it really came down to brass tacks at about 8 o'clock at night, I was like, you know what? I just got this feeling that the narrative for the day suggests that the Patriots should take care of business in Buffalo. And then I seen Buffalo wearing those god-awful jerseys, and I was like, it's time for New England to beat Buffalo. And they sure did. Drake May, Steph Diggs, Star. Well, in the second half, really, they kind of went bananas and ended up taking Buffalo down. Getting a big W on the road. Look at New England go. Good on you guys. We will then head on over to CBS Sports. Going to walk through all 12 games real quick, just going over the scores and the grades, maybe focus on a couple of teams, probably just our Lions. But we will walk through all of the 12 games that were played yesterday, and we will see what CBS is grading out those games as. And then, obviously, we will be getting into hometown cooking. The Detroit Lions, Cincinnati Bengals game recap. We have, what is 5 and 8? So that's 13 different observations we're going to make. 5 of them coming from Tim 20 Man week 5 observations. What is Tim 20 Man seeing over at DetroitLions.com? And then we're going to just do a hop, skip, and a jump over to Pride of Detroit. 8 takeaways from Lions 37-24 win against the Bumbles. The Detroit Lions defeated the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday afternoon, 34-27. Here are 8 takeaways from the win. What does Brandon Knapp have on the slate for us? We will dive into that and discuss. Before sticking around Pride of Detroit, we're going to round the corner and see what Jeremy Reisman has lined up for a lunch for us here. We got Lions injury updates. Latest news on TD and Khalif Raymond. Also note that Terrion Arnold went down with a shoulder injury again and was seen leaving the field, I want to say mid-third quarter. You don't like to see guys get hurt, right? You're not wild about guys getting hurt. But Terrion Arnold is starting to become a liability. You can't trust him in coverage. Yeah, he's a good tackler. But you can't trust him in coverage. He literally took points off the board for us yesterday. Now, we were able to get those 2 points back later on in the day. But that was a little bit of a breath of fresh air to a drowning man there with Cincinnati. They were able to kind of turn it on a little bit, made some adjustments throughout the game. The box score is kind of an indicator. Detroit should have taken care of business. We had multiple opportunities to step on the throat of the Cincinnati Bengals, and for whatever reason, our offense has seen a little bit of issues along the offensive line. Giovanni Manu played well, but not to the level of Taylor Decker, and Taylor Decker isn't all that in a bag of potato chips. Am I excited about Manu? Yes, though. We've seen him get taken advantage of a couple of times, and once was a real ugly hit on Jared Goff right behind. Didn't even feel Hendrickson coming, and that was he just got, or not Hendrickson, Joseph Asai, and he just got absolutely smoked. And that was not necessarily Manu's fault. It was a little bit more of a tight end missing on the block. But, you know, Giovanni Manu, there will be some growing pains. I really kind of want to compare and contrast him to. Similar to what we've seen week 1 when Tater Ratledge and Christian Mahogany rolled out at the guard spots right now. Obviously, Mahogany has a little bit more seasoning than Tater Ratledge, but we've seen some communication issues, some mental issues, just kind of slip and whiffs, and that's going to happen. But hopefully, if Decker is expected to miss any more time, Manu can grow, develop. Hank Fraley can really kind of tool things down. But I liked what I seen out of Manu on the whole. We will take a look, though, at the injury updates. And if you guys have any updates down in the chat, let me know what's going on. If you got anything popping off. We do have a poll. Excuse me, guys. It's going to be a little congested this morning. Also dealing with a little bit of vocal fry. Last week we went a little hard and heavy. After doing a rough version of Macho Man Randy Savage here on the channel, I then spent all afternoon polishing that voice down. Got it real good. But because I played too long with my tool, I got a little bit of vocal fry going on. Also, side note, I did the Macho Man so hard at work, what was it, Thursday night, that I cramped my own butt cheek. And that's not a whole lot of fun, guys. Maybe it was Friday afternoon. I can't remember what it was, but we Macho Man'd a little bit too hard. But just so you guys are aware, 9 votes up here in the poll. There's a poll up in the chat. Guess who got monetized this weekend? That's right. You're looking at your boy. We now have the availability to for y'all to buy super chats, thanks, and stickers. Going to figure out what we want to do about possible memberships, but we're just sticking our toe, in the water of internet money availability. That is a cool thing, and so far I've given you 3 options. Heck yeah, bro, with 89% of the vote. 11% of you say gross, I'm all the is, boo and hiss, and 0% of you say what is this channel. So shout out, guys. Mad Hatter Nation, how you doing? Mr. Detroit City, Brent DeWitt, Jack 2125's hanging out. Derek Harp, how you doing, brother? Good morning. How you doing? Hey, Beantown, I was thinking about you last night watching that game, brother. I was like, I bet Beantown is happier than a pig in shit right now watching his New England Patriots just whomp up on the Buffalo Bills. Now, whomp up on is a bit of a stretch. Buffalo kind of shot themselves in the foot, but New England taking advantage of that situation. Also, weirdly enough, I was thinking, how weird would it be if, New England, the New England Patriots, what if the Detroit was just called the Midwest Lions? Like, it's kind of a boring terminology. I don't know. I was just thinking about that. Yeah, shower thoughts, as it were. Tracy, how you doing, sister? Good to see you. Derek Harp says, glad they rested Decker because thought they could get away without him for this game. I'm glad they rested him, too, and we're going to need him for the late push throughout the rest of the season. BB, also guilty of taking sacks and INTs, too. Disagree, TA being a liability during his development. Trace, that's fair. That's fair. I am being a little hard on Terry and Arnold because I am standing here in my driveway in my yard by my mailbox with egg on my face. I glazed Terry and Arnold really hard during training camp. I was really high on Terry and Arnold, and it could turn around like he did his rookie year, midseason, maybe a couple weeks off here heading into the bye. Could do some things for him if he's hurt for an extended period of time. But I'm just a little upset because I was expecting a lot more development than what we've seen. And personally, I think that we've seen a regression at times of Terry and Arnold. It's a very Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. That being said, he's a great run defender and an excellent tackler. At this point, why don't we just tape his hands into blocks? You know what I'm saying? Why don't we just tape his hands into clubs so that he doesn't get so grabby? Beantown! Holy shit, man. Thanks, bro. That's awesome. Shout out Beantown Breakdown. Literally, Beantown has... Brandy, holy shit. Thank you, guys. You guys are wild, man. That's awesome. Shout out Beantown. Butcher's been hanging with me since, like, day one. I crap you not, guys. I seriously think the very first stream I ever did just from my PlayStation, just playing like Red Dead or something, I think Beantown happened to just roll in, and dude, he's been hanging out with me ever since, like literally from day one. So, bro, that's super awesome and very poetic that you were the very first person to donate to my channel. That's super awesome. Thank you so much, dude. Brandy Coffee, sister, thank you. That's super awesome. You guys really don't need to do that, but that's super awesome. Thank you guys so much. That means a lot. when I opened up my content creator page this morning. So I submitted for monetization yesterday afternoon when I got to work. And this morning I opened up my page, and there was a picture right there. It said, congratulations, you're now part of the partnership program. And I took a picture of it, and I sent it to sent it to Hat and Boobs, and she was like more excited than I was, I swear. And shout out, I sent a picture of it to my mom, and I don't know if she's in the chat, but today is October 6th. So I want to send a very, very, and I now, Mom, if you're watching this afterwards, I knew about this when I was texting you this morning, but I wanted to give you a big shout out this morning. Happy birthday to my mom. It's my mom's birthday, so a big hat and beard show birthday to my mom. She is turning 39 years old again, which is weird because I'm 37. So awesome to my mom. It's her birthday. She's probably not in the chat because, as you guys know, my mom is a savage alcoholic and was probably spent all last night in the bottom of a whiskey barrel. Just kidding. My mom's a lightweight and gets buzzed off of like one drink, and it's hilarious. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to my mom. It's her birthday today. We got monetized today. Things are kind of turning up. It's looking good. It's looking good. It's a good Monday, you guys. We got a victory. We will talk about it, though. I am not happy with how the Detroit Lions performed. A W's a W, but not thrilled. Got to clean that ish up. All right, guys, if you could do all the things, click on all the buttons, ring all of my bells, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, share this around with all your friends so we can continue to grow upwards to the top, to the moon. All right, guys, let's get into the show.
If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well, then hell, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
Hell yeah. Mad Hatter Nation, real quick, I wanted to dive into the chat real quick. Shout out Brent DeWitt. Dude, you and I are like way super, like, there's a lot of commonality here, man. It's also his mom's birthday up in heaven, so cheers, Brent DeWitt, to your mom. I did want to point out Beaver Nuggets. Good morning. How you doing? How you doing? Midwest Lions or Michigan Panthers? Rip. Yeah, I did want to say that. So I did see confirmation Michigan Panthers will indeed be moving out of Michigan. So we're losing our UFL team, and you guys know, you longtime fans here know that I'm a big Michigan Panthers fan. Like the UFL, we call it the methadone for football. You know what I'm saying? So shout out Beaver Nuggets. Appreciate that. Welcome, dude. How you doing? Hopefully you're having a good start to the morning. Dude, there were streams when it was just you, me, and yeah, dude, Brent or Beantown, legit, dude. It was just you, me, and Nightbot for real, brother. It was just like you and me just hanging out, dude. Like legit, you've been here from the jump, dude. For real. It was for real, like hours of just me and fucking Beantown. I keep wanting to say Butcher, dude. Me and Beantown just hanging out, dude. Fucking late at night, just chilling. F Nightbot, exactly, Brandy, exactly. Al Davis said it best. Beaver Nuggets, Beaver Nugs. I'm sorry that I keep saying Beaver Nuggets. Beaver Nugs, you're right, dude. Just win, baby. Winning is the best deodorant. Even though it was ugly, a W is a W. And let's be honest, come Wednesday, I'm not going to be all beaten down on fucking, bad, ugly win. We'll be on to the chefs and ready to take them on. I want to blame the Queen for the Panthers leaving, too. Are you talking... So, Jack, I'm guessing you mean our Queen Sheila. Basically, the way I understand it is it's just too much money for the Panthers to rent out Ford Field. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty sure that in the state of Michigan, there's a couple of Division I football programs. A couple of them, one in particular is a nationally recognized program as one of the most prestigious programs in the history of college football. Outside of that, there are a good couple of larger schools, I'm looking at you, Grand Valley, Division II programs that could play host to the Michigan Panthers as well. So you're talking about old stretching. Gotcha. I see where you're at with the Queen. Funny joke, dude. I like that because, I like to say we have to petition the king or the queen for our constitutionally embedded rights. But yes, dude, old Stretch and Gretchen making it way too expensive for everybody to be here in Michigan, and not too wild about old Stretchin' Gretchen herself. Not too wild about her around here at the Hat and Beard Show. But just to be clear, guys, I literally was just just this morning working. So I do a little bit of work with ChatGPT. It's like my assistant, basically. I use it for punching up my description and stuff. And I was just kind of inquiring about how we could possibly work at tailoring my description to change the meta. And I had hinted at, ever since I started talking about Charlie Kirk a little bit more, and then I subscribed to Alex Jones' new channel that got nuked. You guys notice that I've been saying that I feel like I've been in a little room. So we are making a conscious effort to not necessarily talk about politics so much for the next couple weeks, and as well as I'm going to phase it out of my tags. If it comes up naturally, like it kind of did now, it's totally fine, but I got to kind of fade away from those stories so much because the algorithm doesn't necessarily know what to do with me. It doesn't know if I'm trying to be Woodward Sports, or if I'm trying to be Steven Crowder, or if I'm trying to be something in the middle like Jason Whitlock. I don't know. I like to think of myself as the white Jason Whitlock. Compound Media, come on. Hire me away, buddy. Let's go. Come on, Anthony Cumia. Come on, hire me away. I will be Compound Media's Jason Whitlock. Let's go. All right, guys. So over here at oh wait, hang on. We got way too far ahead of ourselves. We got national news to talk about. Got to go ahead and hit up our boy Beantown Breakdown. Going to talk about your New England Patriots. The Panthers could have stayed at another venue. Exactly. Grand Rapids building a soccer stadium downtown could be used for football. It could, dude. It could. How much did the fun tax have to do with Panthers leaving? Oh, you're good, Jack. No worries. Dude, like I said, it's totally fine. I don't mind. I just have to make an effort to not deliberately talk about stories per se, simply because I'm trying to get out of this little room that YouTube doesn't quite know what to do with me with. So we just need to. I need to just kind of make a little bit of an effort. You are totally okay, bro. I don't mind at all, man. You are good, dude. In fact, some might say it's probably one of the reasons why you came here is because I'm not just going to be a cookie cutter like everybody else, and I tend to talk about whatever I want. But I would like to. We didn't have any growth the last couple weeks. You know what I'm saying? We got to kind of retailer this. Here, Fox has an opening after Sanchez. Yeah, dude. So Mark Sanchez. I thought about talking about that story, right? But the long and short of the Mark Sanchez story is he is a drunk and tried to ruin a guy's life. So I don't know exactly what spurred the altercation, but the rumors that I have seen and heard are that the elderly man, he's like 69 years old, is a grease truck operator. So he goes and he picks up cleans grease out of the traps from restaurants or something, or a grease reclaim truck. And he's hearing impaired. And because of the nature of his work, he doesn't wear his hearing aids regularly, which caused some type of an altercation with Mark Sanchez. And in his attempt to hear something, he leaned into Sanchez, and Sanchez just started beating the shit out of him. So he pulled a knife and stabbed Sanchez. The long and short of it is Mark Sanchez has always and always will be. Oh man, this is an old one. He's such a dirty Sanchez. He's just the dirtiest Sanchez. But I did think about talking about that, but the more I seen about it, the reality is that he's just a piece of shit. Now, I'm going to be honest. Mark Sanchez, he got smoked a couple of times in his playing career. Could this be some type of an indicator or the first flashings of CTE with him, possibly? I don't know. Yeah, good old butt fumble himself, the Mark Sanchez, the dirty Sanchez, who, let us not forget, when Matt Stafford was earning that China doll status, some people were starting to speculate that we made a big swing and a miss not taking Sanchez and taking Matt Stafford instead. And boy, look at the career trajectory of the two of them. One is now being arrested for stabbing an elderly man, or one is now being arrested after being stabbed by an elderly man after he assaulted the 69-year-old guy just trying to fucking earn a paycheck. And the other one, Matt Stafford, well, his wife is a giant whore, and they have big, goofy, white teeth. So over here, Drake May, Steph Diggs, star in Patriots win versus the Bills. Quarterback Drake May delivered his signature NFL win with clutch play down the stretch, and wide receiver Steph Diggs was sensational in an emotional return to Western New York as the New England Patriots shocked the Buffalo Bills 23 to 20 on Sunday night. May led the final drive to set up Andy Borgalega's 52-yard field goal with 15 seconds remaining, a march that started with May somehow finding Diggs for a 12-yard catch and run as defensive lineman Daquan Jones had the QB in his grasp and was bringing him to the ground. I gotta hand it. This is not taking away from Drake May, okay? But a lot of those plays where he was escaping out of the pocket, there is a huge difference between being good and being incredibly lucky. My guy got lucky on a couple of those throws. May's knack for extending plays and finding Diggs in key situations was a significant part of the formula that snapped the Bills' 14-game home winning streak. Diggs, who played for Buffalo from 2020 to 2023 and called it a nostalgic night for him, finished with a team-high 10 catches for 146 yards. May, starting his first primetime game in the NFL, finished 22 of 30 for 273 yards and delivering his first game-winning drive as a pro. Afterwards, he shared an embrace with Vrabel as the coach waited for every player to congratulate them. May was followed by Diggs, who darted into a celebratory locker room with the chanting, "Andy, Andy, Andy," in salute to Borregales, the rookie kicker who drilled the game-winning field goal. The Patriots improved to 2-3, while the Bills, who have won the past 5 AFC crowns, drop to 4-1. The last unbeaten, both of the unbeatens, fell yesterday. Diggs was a major role in delivering the divisional titles. Yep, we know that. It was lit, electrifying, he said, adding later that feeding off raucous crowd is everything to me. When it gets loud, it kind of gets quiet for me, said the 31-year-old Diggs, who became the first Patriot receiver to post consecutive 100-yard performances in the same season since Julian Edelman in 2019. Wow, what a fall off they've had. It doesn't bother me too much. They love you one day, they hate you the next. They can love you again. I spent a lot of time here. I respect the dynamic. Used to be here. I'm not here no more. I guess I miss you too. Just as Diggs helped Allen early in his career as the Bills' signal caller, Diggs is doing the same for the 23-year-old May. Perhaps their best connection on Sunday was a 32-yard improvisational fourth-quarter play in which May rolled out to his right, motioned with his left hand and Diggs to move further up the field, then delivered a pinpoint throw along the right sideline that was snared by the sure-handed Diggs. So what I do like is Stephon Diggs is actually really good at doing this, okay? You've seen him do it with Buffalo when Buffalo traded for him to bring him out from Minnesota, right? And this is typically what you like to see done with rookie quarterbacks on the rookie scale. You can, with the quarterbacks being on a rookie scale contract, you can spend money at positional players to help alleviate the growing curve. Now, typically what you do is you get a first-round young quarterback, you go out and you buy a shiny wide receiver with him, or you acquire a shiny wide receiver, right? That's what they did. The Bills did with Josh Allen. Look at the career Josh Allen has had. Steph Diggs was then asked to do the same thing with C.J. Stroud. Didn't necessarily work out in Houston the way that it was supposed to, but now you see him in New England doing the exact same thing. Yes, it's a 2-week sample size. However, I have to admit, there does seem to be good chemistry between Drake May and Steph Diggs. This could be the catalyst to Drake May ascending to the ceiling that he did have coming out as a first-round draft pick. I'm not necessarily upset with the direction. That rookie scale contract allows a lot of money to be spent on defensive players. You know what I'm saying? There's just a lot of avenues you can go when you have a rookie scale quarterback contract. Patriots scored a touchdown on the next play with a go-ahead 13-10 midway through the third quarter. It was a decisive response after the Bills had scored on the opening possession of the second half. May again found Diggs for a 30-yard catch and run early in the fourth quarter that set up a touchdown 2 plays later to give the Patriots a 20-10 lead. The Bills roared back to to tie the score at 20 before the Patriots got the ball back at their own 29-yard line with 2:12 remaining. The 37-yard game-winning drive started with May's final completion to Diggs. May made the throw while falling to the ground as Jones was bearing down on him with his left shoulder in the defender's grasp. Of Diggs' triumphant return to the Bills' home stadium, May said, "It's storybook coming back here. First game since the trade. Prime time. You could see it all week. He just loves football. He just has a lot left in the tank. It's good. He's a Patriot." It is a good thing. That is this is exactly what the typical mold for success is. Young quarterback, shiny, not expensive, but a shiny wide receiver, right? You have that with Steph Diggs. The Patriots then followed up the Drake May selection this last draft with was it Will Campbell? Is that it? The big offensive tackle out of LSU. Played decent, played pretty well from what I was watching. Not focusing on the guy, I was just enjoying the game. You know what I'm saying? Just a casual observer of the game because I just don't really care about the necessarily long-term development of the New England Patriots. But what I seen is Mike Vrabel implementing the mold of success, and so far we are starting to see it turn around, right? So I would expect the New England Patriots. I don't necessarily know how your guys' roster breaks down as far as needs and requirements next season. If I were the New England Patriots, I would now be looking to get a first-round wide receiver to pair with the development of Drake May to eventually take over the chemistry that he has with Stephon Diggs brewing right now. It's a whole long-game rookie-scale contract money move thing. So that's if I were the Patriots, that's what I would look to do. How do you guys feel about that, chat? How are we feeling, Mad Hatter Nation? Derek Harp. That's awesome. I am the White Lock. I'm Jason Whitelock. Dude, that's funny, bro. That's funny. Brent DeWitt and Jack both had New England as dark horses to make the playoffs, but didn't see them winning yesterday. Hell yeah, dude. On paper, they had no business winning the game. To sound like a Zoomer, it was just a vibes thing, man. It was the vibes. The vibes on Sunday, man, were that, the underdogs were coming out swinging, man. Maybe the Patriots could pull it off, man. And they totally did, man. You know what I'm saying? All right, boys and girls, let's go ahead and just quickly run through the slate yesterday. First on the docket, we have, this is coming to us from CBS Sports, Houston. Absolutely. Can't say that word. Took advantage of the Baltimore Ravens, 44-10. Texans getting an A+. The Baltimore Ravens getting an F grade. The Ravens might have the worst defense in football. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass, and they can't get after the quarterback. Lamar Jackson didn't play in this game, but even if he did play, it might not have mattered because Baltimore's defense is that bad. With Cooper Rush running the offense, the Ravens never stood a chance. The Ravens now have surrendered at least 37 points in 4 of their 5 games this year. A 1-4 Ravens season is spiraling out of control. Personally, I just want to shout out Cooper Rush. Big fan. I know, it's weird. Random to be a big fan of a journeyman backup quarterback. But he played at Lansing Catholic Central down here in Lansing. Good on you. Little mid-Michigan connection. Obviously, New England beat up on Buffalo 20-3. The Patriots getting an A-. The Bills getting a B-. Obviously, you'll see the Bills and the Bills and Eagles sliding probably out of the power rankings. We'll see tomorrow where everyone's slotted in at. Detroit 37-24 over Cincinnati. The Lions getting an A grade. The Bengals getting a D. The Lions gave the Bengals a beat down on both sides of the ball. The defense limited Cincinnati to just 180 yards and 3 points through the first 3 quarters before the Bengals padded their stats in garbage time. Aidan Hutchinson had one of Detroit's 2 sacks. Derek Barnes recorded a safety, and the Lions also picked off Jake Browning 3 times. To be fair, one of those interceptions was Kirby Joseph back there doing Kirby Joseph things. So if we, for some reason, didn't have the all-pro super sensational put a gold jacket on him already because he's the second coming of Ed Reed, Kirby Joseph, probably would have only been 2 interceptions. But Kirby Joseph has this knack, dude. He is so fast, he is so fluid, and he is so quick at dissecting plays that he's able to completely cover one side of the field to the other to just fly out of nowhere and just grab an interception. So one of those interceptions is purely the Kirby Joseph effect. I'm not taking anything away. I'm just putting a little asterisk like, hey, they do have a future Hall of Fame safety who's on par with Ed Reed as far as production. The Lions' offense wasn't perfect, but David Montgomery showed why he's so valuable with rushing a touchdown and passing a touchdown. At times, it felt like the Lions took their foot off the gas. They had 2 punts from Bengals territory, which is something Dan Campbell almost never does. But you got to keep your opponents on your toes, breaking the stats, confusing everybody, putting up the fog of war. Ooh, super spooky Dan Campbell. But they still coasted to an easy win. When you can't take your foot off the gas and still coast to an easy win, that's when you know you're a good team. The Bengals, at some point, the Bengals are going to have to consider making a change at quarterback. Jake Browning started his 3rd straight game, and for the 3rd straight game, the Bengals got blown out. Browning threw 3 interceptions through the first 3 quarters, and that was a big reason why the Bengals fell behind 21-3. The Bengals kept digging themselves into a hole at the start of every game, and with the offense playing so poorly, there's no way for them to get their way out of it. They've now lost their last 3 games by a combined score of 113-37. This team just isn't playing competitive football. Ain't that the truth? Though, to be honest, a couple of breaks, things could have been an entirely different story down in Cincinnati yesterday. But thankfully, we got away with it. Washington beat up on the Chargers 27-10. The Commies getting an A grade. The Chargers getting a D. Tampa outlast the Seabags 38-35. Both teams getting a 1. Bucks getting a B+. The Seabags getting a B. Keep an eye on Tampa. We got a big game in a couple weeks ago against them. Tennessee! Look at you. Tennessee. The Titans getting their first win. Look at you go. Tennessee 22-21 over Arizona. Tennessee getting an A- grade. The Titans won their first game of the season, and they did it in a stunning fashion. With Tennessee trailing 21-6 going into the 4th quarter, Cam Ward went off. The number 1 overall pick played like the number 1 overall pick, throwing for 193 yards in the final quarter. He was calm, cool, and collected under pressure, which is exactly what you want to see from your franchise QB. Ward was in sync with Calvin Ridley, who caught 5 passes for 131 yards in the game. The Titans definitely needed some luck, like when Tyler Lockett recovered the ball in the end zone after the Cardinals fumbled away an interception. But sometimes, luck is exactly what you need to win in the NFL. No matter what happens this year, the Titans will be able to hang their hat on this shocking win. They will not go winless this year. They will, no matter what, have at least 1 win in the win column. Good on Tennessee, but probably going to need to be making a regime change in the coaching department. Denver unseating Philadelphia's perfect record, 21-7. Denver getting an A-. The Eagles getting a B-. Dallas pummeled the Jets. This was an ugly game. I fell asleep during it. The Cowboys with an A+. The Jets with a D. Aaron Glenn is a defensive-minded coach, so there was an expectation that the Jets' defense would improve this year with him running the show. But that hasn't been the case. The defense seems to be getting worse every week, and that continued in this game. The Jets surrendered multiple big plays, including 3 that went for more than 40 yards. Good Lord. But we've seen that a lot in Detroit. What the fuck? Why are we that shocked? As bad as the defense was, the offense might have been worse. The Jets only mustered 22 points against the Cowboys' defense that has surrendered the 2nd most points in the NFL heading into Week 5. Everything seems broken right now for the Jets. With this loss, Glenn is now the first coach in Jets history to start 0-5 in his first year with the team. And I'm standing in my driveway in my yard at my mailbox with egg on my face because I was way too hype about Aaron Glenn. Indianapolis, just bending the Raiders over 40-6. A solid F grade for the Raiders, an A grade for the Colts. Carolina gets their win over Miami, 27-24. The Dolphins are the C grade. The Panthers are the B. New Orleans beating up on the Giants. The Giants not able to continue the trend of winning with Jackson Dart. A C- grade, an A- grade for the Saints. Minnesota out in London, they ended up beating down the Browns 21-17 in Cleveland, or over Cleveland in London with an A- grade. And the Browns getting a B+. Looked a little bit better with Dylan Gabriel. But they just don't have the dogs. They just don't have the dogs. The dog pound just doesn't have the dogs this year. I think everybody knows that. They just didn't have the guns to go toe-to-toe with the Minnesota Queens. San Francisco beat up on the Rams on Thursday. We know that 26-23. So that is a quick rundown. Obviously, there's still the Monday night games to be played tonight. So we'll see how that all shakes out. And then we'll take a look tomorrow at the polls and power rankings. We've been following CBS Sports, so we're probably going to stick with them just for continuity's sake. How are we doing, Mad Hatters? Ravens have Super Bowl winning coach on the hot seat now. Brent, I was wondering that. Is that an action based on how poorly the Ravens have been playing, even with Sparkle Spice or Scary Sparkle on the fucking on the field? The Ravens have just been bad, and they have not been great in the postseason the past couple of years. Is it time? Is it time for the Baltimore Ravens to consider a coaching change? I'm not a Baltimore Ravens fan. I don't have any inside information. I don't know what the vibe is in Baltimore other than it's a crime-riddled shithole. I don't know what the fandom is like. I don't know what the scuttlebutt is. But just on the outside looking in, does it not seem that John Harbaugh should have a little bit of temperature increase on his seat? Ravens losing isn't bothering me at all. Me either, Jack. I'm not necessarily mad about it. I like seeing the churn. I like seeing teams churn up and churn over, except for the Detroit Lions. You know what I'm saying? Jets have the number 1 draft pick locked up now. Yeah, Jack, it's going to be hard for them to Garrett Wilson, very, very good. Right? Breece Hall is David Montgomery-esque. They have some pieces there. There are some pieces on defense. Sauce Gardner, Jeremiah Johnson. But I don't know if the Jets team that I've seen play, and I've seen a couple of Jets games now, because for whatever reason, CBS or Fox or whichever I fell asleep during was like, oh, yeah, you live in Michigan? You definitely want to watch the Jets-Dallas game, don't you? That's the game you want to watch, the Jets and the Cowboys. That's what you want to watch. It's not what I wanted to watch, so I fell asleep during it. But the few Jets games I've seen, the Jets just don't have the dogs. They don't have the guns, man, and I don't know if they have the talent to win a single game this year. And that is not how Aaron Glenn wants to start his tenure. You know what I'm saying? Lions and Queens both beating the Browns means the Cheeseheads are way overrated. Brent, I don't think you're wrong, dude. I do not think you're wrong at all. I think what you've seen week 1 against the Lions was the Lions, a perfect storm. Detroit came in mildly underprepared, maybe a little too high on their own supply, and had massive communications issues. The Packers were able to take advantage of the hype around Micah Parsons and our shortcomings. Now we've seen that the Green Bay Packers have just fallen short a couple of times, especially against the Brown Eyes. Oh, hey, good morning, Mom. How you doing? Shout out. Wanted to let you know we did say it this morning, but happy birthday to my mom. Shout out, Mom. I knew it was your birthday this morning when I was texting you, but I wanted to say something about it on the show. So shout out. Happy birthday to my mom. Glad you're finally able to wake up from your drunken, hungover sleeping in session. Since it's your birthday, we all know you climbed into the bottle of a whiskey barrel. Good Lord. 11:15 and Hat's mom's just waking up. Shame. Do better. AG not trying to turn around a team. He's turning around a culture, and it will take some time for sure. Exactly, Brent. That's what AG said. Big ship turns slow. Hopefully hopefully that the front office and the ownership of the Jets understand that. They realize that, and that he has a long enough leash to do what Dan Campbell had to do here in Detroit: tear everything down and rebuild it from the ground up. I'm going to hit this oil can here before we talk about the Lions, boys and girls. Coming to us from Detroit Lions, Tim 20-man, senior beat writer. Week 5 observations. Number one-man wrecking crew. Aidan Hutchinson was a beast coming off the edge for the Lions Sunday against the Bengals. He produced his third career game with 5 QB hits, 1 sack, and a forced fumble. That's fucking insane numbers right there. That's his third game with 5 hits, 1 sack, and 1 forced fumble. That's insane. Since quarterback hit data began, collected in 2006, the only player to produce more such games is T.J. Watt. Hutchinson now has a sack in 4 straight games with 5 on the season. He's also got 12 QB hits and 3 forced fumbles in just 5 games. Points aplenty. The Lions recorded their 4th straight contest, scoring at least 34 points. They've set franchise record in points scored 174 and touchdowns 22 through the first 5 games of any season. The crazy part about it is that they're talking to offensive players after the game. They feel like there's plenty of room for improvement, and they feel like they've been building up to playing their best football. Yes, I do agree. There is plenty of room for improvement. There were missed opportunities, our offensive line, communication issues, penalties. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed, has anybody seen J-Mo? Where is Jameson Williams? APB, we need to put an APB out on Jameson Williams. We have one J-Mo, one missing J-Mo. Can we get him on milk cartons, please? Where is Jameson Williams? Jameson Williams, where are you? Where are you? Where have you gone, Jameson Williams? Why are you not producing in the offense? 2 weeks of nothing leads me to wonder why we extended you. Where the hell is J-Mo? Where is Jameson Williams? It's trying to piss me off. Impact plays rookie wide receiver Isaac Tesla. Old T-Bird himself was thrust into a bigger role against the Bengals because of the neck injury suffered by Leaf early in the game. When a young player like Tesla, old T-Bird, is given a bigger opportunity, it's imperative they take advantage. T-Bird did Sunday. Not only did he record his 2nd touchdown of the season on a 12-yard catch late in the 4th quarter, but the 3rd-round pick also made 2 key plays on special teams as a gunner to pin Cincinnati deep in their own territory. That's a Dan Campbell guy right there. The first was a heads-up play to bat a ball headed for the end zone back into play before touching the goal line to pin them at the 3-yard line. The other was drawing a hold on the outside on a punt that also pinned the Bengals back inside their 10. It's plays like those that will continue to earn Tesla more opportunities. Was that Laporta has more yards? Ain't that the truth? J-Mo's blocking down the field. Missed the memo. Yeah, he missed the memo, dude. He's too busy blocking downfield. J-Mo disappeared faster than a fart in a hurricane. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth, Beantown? Yo, J-Mo only used the first series, last 2 games. Makes no sense. I know, dude. I know. We went to him real early with the design end around. It went nowhere, and then, like Beantown said, he disappeared like a fart in a hurricane, dude. Just fucking gone. And then disappeared. J-Mo is right now the living SpongeBob meme. All right, guys, I'm about to head out. You know what I'm saying? Like, J-Mo is just, and maybe the script isn't calling for him. Maybe there's really no need to go to him. I don't know, man, but I was, guys, I'm the guy who called for Jameson Williams to have 1,600 yards this year. So, again, egg, face, driveway, mailbox. You know what I'm saying? All right, what else do we got? Mr. Consistency quarterback Jared Goff, JG16. Jared Goff completed 19 of 23 passes for an 82% completion percentage for 258 yards and 3 tuggaroos on Sunday. He's been so consistent all season. The Lions for the Lions and now completed 70% of his passes in 6 straight road games. I was told that not only did Jared Goff not have the talent within him, but he has to have an absolutely perfect team around him. Coaching staff has to be absolutely perfect, and Jared Goff cannot play on the road. I was told for years and years that Jared Goff could not play on the road. 70% of his completion percentage in 6 straight road games. Goff came into the game completing 73.8% of his passes, 2nd best in the NFL. Just how good is Goff to start the season? The only quarterbacks in history to complete 75% of their passes, throw for 12-plus touchdowns, and a total passer rating of 120-plus through 5 games of any season. Goff this year, and Hall of Famer Peyton Manning in 2013. Now, you guys remember last week when I, Hat and Beard, sat right here in this very Grandma Studio 1 and said, Jared Goff is doing Peyton Manning-esque things before the snap. And I realized that at the time that was a bit of a stretch, and I got a little bit of pushback, which is entirely fair, because it feels weird. It feels weird to be putting Jared Goff in the same group as Peyton Manning. But the numbers speak for themselves, and I understand it feels that way. But to quote a little guy that works for the Daily Wire, those are the facts, and the facts don't care about your feelings. Hans team rookie defensive lineman Tyleik Williams has shown an innate ability to get his hands in passing lanes early this season. His job is to eat double teams and be a force in the run game, but he recorded his third pass defended already this season, Sunday in Cincinnati. He is very good at getting his hands up. I've noticed that. Tyleik is a very cerebral player. He is watching and assessing things at a very hyper rate on the field. He can diagnose plays as they're developing, and his natural God-given instincts are way sharper than I think anybody really gave him credit for coming into the draft. There was a lot of question marks on why Brad Holmes took Tyleik Williams in the first round. We all wanted a defensive end, right? Everybody wanted a defensive end, and justifiably so, but Tyleik Williams seems to be playing pretty well. Obviously, he's not as flashy as Aidan Hutchinson, and he's not to the development or pass rush ability of Aleem the Dream, the Dancing Bear McNeil yet, but Tyleik the Freak is playing very, very well. Dare I say, higher than his draft position. I think he's outplaying some of the other defensive linemen in this draft class at this point. Cornerback depth. Detroit's depth in the secondary was tested Sunday as veteran Trey Flowers, who's only signed to the practice squad this week and elevated from the game Sunday, ended up playing significant snaps in the fourth quarter. The Lions were already playing without DJ Reed, who's on IR with a hamstring injury, and they lost TA to a shoulder injury in the second half, and top reserve Rock Ya-Sin to an undiagnosed injury in the second half. Personally, it looked like he was having some cramping issues. It looked like Rock Ya-Sin seemed to have borrowed Brian Branch's legs and decided to cramp up a bunch. At least that's what it looked like. I don't know. I haven't seen any information. This is all speculation. Coverman veteran linebacker Alex Anelzone wears a lot of hats for the defense, but one of his more underrated traits is his ability to cover the pass game. He defended 3 passes in the game Sunday and had an interception. Anelzone now has 28 pass defenses as a Lion, the second most Lions linebacker has produced since at least 1994. And moving up the list, wide receiver Amon-Ra notched 8 receptions for 100 yards on Sunday. It was St. Brown's 21st game, recording at least 100 receiving yards as he passed Brent Perryman for the 4th most receiving yards in franchise history. Shooting up the list like a fucking missile, dude, like a fucking missile. I loved the graphic they shown between him and Jamar Chase, obviously taken in the same draft, but wildly different positions in the draft class. Obviously, Amon-Ra was taken like 125, 122, somewhere around there, and Jamar Chase was the number 5 overall pick. And when you look at the main categories of wide receivers, they are all 1 and 2. And the person above them, if they are 2, is the guy on the other side of the screen. It's absolutely wild to see the contrast between the two guys. If I were to build a team, though, I think you guys know I'm 100% building my team around guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, not Jamar Chase, despite having all of the talent in the world. Can't wait to see Aleem, Reeder, and Williams on the D-line night with Hutch, dude. That's what I'm saying. That's going to be a tenacious D-line, dude. Going to be a wall of pain. Uh-oh. Did I get disconnected from the chat? Interesting. Dr. Jimmy said it was cramps. Yeah, dude, that's what it was looking. So my reasoning behind it looked like Rock Ya-Sin was cramping up was he came off the field at the end of one series and started pounding what looked like a version of Gatorade and then some the jellies that have a lot of electrolytes in it to kind of limit that up. And then when he was sitting on the field before he hopped, came out, it looked like he was just sitting there like pointing at his leg, just like it's cramping. When he called him Amon-Ra first down. Yes, dude. Micro Mike nailed it. Amon-Ra first down. Hell yeah. Ain't that fucking just absolutely on the nose. All right, guys, over at Pride of Detroit, 8 takeaways from the Lions win against the Bengals. Number 1, Giovanni Manu, welcome to being a starter. For weeks, Lions starting left tackle Taylor Decker hasn't practiced but has played in every game. After missing another week of practice, Decker was expected to play until Sunday morning when the Lions downgraded him from questionable to doubtful. Decker was a scratch, meaning second-year tackle Giovanni Manu got the start. Making your first ever start against the top edge rusher in the Bengals, Trey Hendrickson, is a tough challenge. After doing well in the opening drive, Manu made a crucial mistake on the next drive. The Lions were moving with ease once again, and Manu got beaten quickly by Hendrickson, leading him to a strip-sacking Lions quarterback Jared Goff, and the Bengals recovering the football. After that, Manu did well until late in the fourth quarter, as he was beaten cleanly by defensive end Joseph Asai. I'm pretty sure, though, that play wasn't designed for him to block the end. I'm pretty sure that Brock Wright was supposed to come around and trap the defensive end because the entire offensive line blocked down to their right with the tight end scraping across the middle. I don't know if that's how the play was designed, but that's how the play looked. Both sacks were at the worst times, once stopping the offense that was moving down the field with ease, giving the Bengals the ball back. The second forced the Lions out of field goal range in the fourth quarter to make it a 2-touchdown game and gave the Bengals life. Thankfully, the defense got a game-clinching safety to eliminate any chance of a comeback for the Bengals. Manu was a tough watch for those plays, but besides those, he did as well as he could. And I thought he played above just. Sorry, I thought I heard someone pulling up my driveway. Punt returner unknown after Leaf's injury. Wide receiver and punt returner Kyle Leaf Raymond took a nasty hit on his first punt return of the day and left the game with a neck injury. Raymond didn't return, so that meant rookie wide receiver Dominic Lovett filled in for him the rest of the game. Neck injuries can be scary, and I hope Raymond can return from it. As of now, though, it seems like the news is promising. Good. The news is promising. Okay, good. Wes, Hat and Boobs and I were talking about it, and I was like, that's the thing with neck injuries. It's super scary because of the fog of war around it. You don't know with a neck injury, especially the violent nature of the hit that he kind of took. It could be anything from his career is done to he's back next week. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could be any number. The neck is such a not something you want to fuck with. You know what I'm saying? If Raymond misses time, Lovett should be his replacement, but I'm sure Detroit will try a few others to see if they could fill the role. Raymond being down doesn't just affect the punt return job, though. Rookie wide receiver Isaac Tesla, the old T-Bird, should see an increased playing time. That opens the door for Lovett and possibly Jackson Meeks. Or, we're going to whisper his name, TK85, Tom Kennedy from the practice squad. Could see an elevation or two. Let's go. I like Jackson Meeks and Tom Kennedy. I really like Jackson Meeks. I think Jackson Meeks might be a special player. Lions secondary shines against Bengals wide receivers well until late. The Lions were down without starting quarterback DJ Reed, who was put on IR. They're also down without Khalil Dorsey. And midway through the game, Terry and Arnold left with a shoulder injury. So Detroit was down their top cornerback and fifth string, leaving them with just 4 cornerbacks on the game day roster on Sunday, with Arnold and Amik Rakyasin and newly signed Trey Flowers. Despite being thin, the Lions secondary played excellently. First, Robertson had an interception on Bengals quarterback Jake Browning as he was covering Bengals star wide receiver Jamar Chase, which put the Lions offense in the red zone. Yasin would force a punt on the next drive as he was step for step with Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins and knocked the ball away. After forcing a punt on their next drive, Detroit would create another turnover as Browning threw a deep ball to that safety Kirby Joseph would jump and steal from Arnold and snag it to give Detroit a short field. The Lions secondary finished with 7 pass deflections and 2 interceptions, despite being down 2 players. The secondary did it all. It could, and some, to put the game away as early as possible. While there are some positives in the secondary, we have to talk about the negative. The injuries are piling up. While the Lions' secondary first-half performance was strong despite being down 2 players, more players left the field in the second half. Arnold, due to a shoulder injury, didn't return. Yasin left, but later would return and leave again. With Yasin down, Flowers had to play, and thankfully, it didn't seem to interest Browning to target him. This team dealt with many injuries last season, and this year, one position is getting hit instead. The pass rush for Detroit, while having double-digit sacks this season, needs the secondary to be at its best. While the Lions' secondary is healthy, or guys are stepping up like they did today, the pass rush can have more time to get to the quarterback. The Lions play the Chiefs next week, and with the quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, you can give him time to throw the football or an easy secondary to beat down. Aidan Hutchinson continues to succeed, but it won't show on the stat sheet. This was a frustrating game to watch when it came to the Lions' defensive end, Aidan Hutchinson. He had not one but 2 sacks get wiped away due to penalties. The first was on himself as he was offsides, and the second was wiped away due to a holding penalty on Arnold. Not only was that second sack wiped away, but it also have been a safety. The penalty was poorly called, in my opinion, as the replay showed Arnold's neck bent back as the Bengals wide receiver had his arms extended. Thankfully, Hutchinson ended up getting a sack that did count, and it was another strip sack recovered by the Bengals. Hutchinson finished with 9 pressures, 4 tackles, a tackle for a loss, a sack, and that crucial forced fumble. In total, Hutchinson now has 3 sacks eliminated from penalties this season. Hutchinson is having a better season than what you see, and it's just great that he's back on the field after how his season ended last year, but he deserves his stats that he's earned. And 2 more things. Dude, Jesus Christ, how many more fucking... Okay, yeah. Okay. 3 more. We can do this. We can knuckle down. We can get through it. Monty balls out at home. Lions running back Montgomery had a homecoming Sunday, being one of the best players on offense. Monty had 18 carries for 65 yards and a tugger-redo, but also threw a touchdown pass to tight end Brock Wright. Mahogany wanted to return home and have a game for his sister to see in person for the first time since a car accident left her paralyzed from the neck down. While seeing him play against the Chicago Bears is always fun, it was nice to see him succeed in his home state and make the game a little more personal. Fox did a nice job talking to Montgomery. Yep, we've seen all that. If you guys want, go ahead and check out Fox for that stuff. We're not going to continue to rehash that. Refs did all they could for the Bengals. The Lions have struggled with penalties the past few weeks, and the team needs to address those and clean them up. While some penalties on Detroit this week were rightfully called, there were just as many that were incorrect. Detroit was called for 8 penalties for 56 yards, and only 4 were legit penalties. The defensive holding call on Arnold was horrible and took away a safety for Detroit. It was a play where no flag should have been thrown at all. I do agree with that. The holding by center Graham Glasgow didn't seem to make sense as he was blocking for his running back on the play. No grabbing of the jersey or anything like that looked illegal, which thankfully Detroit overcame by scoring on the next play. The other 2 were defensive pass interference calls, one on Arnold and the other on anal zone, both on the same drive. The Arnold call was good defense, and both players slid to the ground, leaving me wondering how anything was done illegally. The anal zone one was where Browning threw an uncatchable ball to tight end Mike Gesicki, and that drive turned into a touchdown for the Bengals. So with the help of the officials, the Bengals got a touchdown, and the Lions weren't awarded a safety. A 9-point swing that makes this 13-point win more comfortable 22-point victory. Exactly. And finally, getting concerned with offensive woes. In back-to-back games, the Lions' offense has sputtered and wasn't as effective as they should have been. Against the Browns, the Lions needed the defense and special teams to score to help put Cleveland away. Without those 2 touchdowns, that 24-point victory turns only into 10, and things could have been worse. This week, the defense got 3 turnovers. The offense scored off of 2 of them with a shortened field. If the Lions' offense isn't gifted the short field on those 2 scoring drives, it's unclear if they can move down the field with ease. Detroit's offense was looking great on the first 2 drives, but then Goff fumbled the ball, and they only scored 1 more time in the first half. I'm unsure what is causing the issues of the offense appearing to be stuck in the mud, but in a game where the Lions were leagues above the Bengals, despite their record not being far apart, the Lions made it close. Manu's play had an impact, but he wasn't the main reason for the offense not creating lanes for the running backs or helping getting receivers open. The Lions escaped the game due to the talent that they went up against, but the road is about to get tougher. Next up for Detroit are the Chiefs and the Tampa, Bay, Buccaneers. Detroit doesn't need to score on every drive against those teams, but they can't sputter as often as they did these past 2 weeks. The opponents will make you pay. So Detroit has to clean up its act on offense, and fast. I agree with that. That's why trying to rationalize this in my head, but the reality is we're just not as efficient as we wanted to be based on the offense that we had the last 2 years. High flying, high octane, points galore. Yes, though, we are still a very good offense. This is to be expected. Rookie right guard, a shitbox center, a left guard moving from right to left where he was a little bit helped out by the all-world, all-universe, give him his gold jacket already, Penei Sewell at right tackle. And yes, Giovanni Manu is a definite step down from Taylor Decker. However, we still have been able to beat our opponents. Now, that being said, if you are going to be this team that plays down to the level of your opponent, you will not advance in the playoffs. You will run into a Tampa. You will run into a L.A. or a Philly, and they will beat the fucking brakes off of you because they're going to want it more, right? These last week is a step away because both of those teams lost. Tampa managed to win. However, it is a good thing that this is happening now, week 4 into week 5, and not week 14 into week 15. It is good to get these bugs and kinks recognized, addressed, and worked out while you still have the flexibility of dropping a game or two, right? And I do think that we made the smart move. Yes, not the defensive end that you want to go up against, but we have 2 high-octane opponents the next 2 weeks. We have 2 prime-time matchups the next 2 weeks. We need to be at our absolute best. This was the smart game to shut Taylor Decker down. We can limp by without him against the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, it wasn't pretty. Yes, we should have scored 50 points on our own. But a W is a W. Beaver Nugs had it nailed perfectly, quote Al Davis. Just win, baby. Winning is the absolute best deodorant. We will take one last look over here at the chat. Mahomes sucks. Mahomes does suck, Brandy. Preach. I fucking love you, sister. That's exactly. He does suck. Neck hurters are the worst. Definitely something you don't want to fuck with. Beantown. Preach. Exactly. Manu Stray went about like I figured. He'll get better. I'm hoping sooner than later. Brent, that is kind of how I think Manu versus Hendrickson went exactly the way we thought it was going to go. If not, a little bit better for Giovanni Manu. I think Giovanni Manu played a little bit better than all expectations we could have realistically put on him. So I view it like this, as an overall grade, 0 being the worst, 100 being the best. I think our expectations were for Giovanni Manu to come out and play at like a 72, 73 overall player. Okay? Not the cream of the crop, but not a complete dud. Personally, I think Manu played like a 75 overall player and at times a 77 overall player. Taylor Decker is an 80 to 83 overall player, in my opinion. So the drop-off is there. I think, though, the drop-off wasn't as catastrophic as it could have been because I think Manu played better than what we thought he was going to. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't great. But he is not our franchise left tackle at this point. That could change. That could all change. We don't know. We don't know. It could change. But I personally thought he did relatively well, if not playing above the expectations that I had set forth before him. Did MCDC give Browning a game ball? I don't know, but he should. Do we know who got game balls? I was thinking Anal Zone will get a game ball because he played fucking lights out, and then probably Monty getting a game ball. You know what I'm saying? Why did the Lions use the smallest person for punt returns when the players are running full speed? Yes, I agree. I wonder that too, Jack. It seems like a physics thing, a physics battle that you're not going to win. KC likes to move Chris Jones out to the edge, not going to get any easier for Manu if he plays again. Exactly, Brent. That's why I think shutting down Decker, letting him get this extra rest is a good thing because Chris Jones he's an X factor. He can play all over that defensive line and very effective at all of the positions. The Chiefs' window is closing fast. I'll go a step farther, Beantown. I think you're seeing a disgruntled X, right? The Chiefs are no longer the main bitch. Time has passed them. They are aging out. That window has been shut since the window got slammed in their face last season, and they are just desperately hungover, still trying to think that the window is open for them. But the reality is it's probably been shut, and it will be shut for the next year or two until they can get more weapons around Mahomes. He just doesn't have the weapons. And although Mahomes is very, very good, what we're seeing is he's not doing Tom Brady things. Tom Brady elevated everyone around him until the later edges of his career where he was able to go and play with guys like Mike Evans. You know what I'm saying? But Tom Brady was making those around him better. Patrick Mahomes, though playing really, really well, isn't taking, I'm trying to think, Tyquan Thornton and turning him into Randy Moss. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Tom Brady was able to take Julian Edelman and make him into who he was. Does that make sense? If the Lions defense plays the same against the Chefs they did yesterday, Mahomes is going to have a day. Yeah, I agree with you, Jack. That was not the best game on the whole. We just didn't play game. Jack Fox is probably our best overall player. He had some great punts, as always. Field relocation specialist for the Detroit Lions. They did find Tesla's other hand last night, right? I think they did. I think they finally got him. I think was it his left hand that they grabbed him? Or did he grab the touchdown with? I'm not exactly sure, but I just like that he has 3 catches and 2 touchdowns. Was nice to see the local get his first TD. Exactly. Tesla has a hard time catching using 2 hands. He's really good with that one-handed grab. He's got that one really good glue hand. So we're not going to jump into the injury report simply because we're a little over time. And we're going to go ahead and wait for the real news to come out this afternoon, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. So we don't speculate and worry or nothing like that. We'll wait and see what the coaching staff and everyone has to say as information comes out of Allen Park after camp or practice today. So, guys, today I want to say thank you for all of you hanging out. Thanks to the Super Chats. Those of you guys, Beantown and I believe it was Brandy Coffee, you guys dropping chats. That's absolutely awesome. I'm trying to figure out if there's a way for me to just view those. I can't tell. Oh, cool. I can start goals and stuff. Sorry, I'm just clicking around. This is all new to me, and I don't know what to do. So, everybody, I want to say thank you to all of you that have tuned in today. This is our first stream where we had any type of monetization turned on, so it's kind of a landmark episode for us here at the Hat and Beard Show, and I want to say thank you to all of you that helped make this possible. Seriously, every single one of you. If you've ever watched, liked, or shared my content, thank you. This is awesome. This is the first step towards achieving something special. You know what I'm saying? So I want to say thank you to all you guys. We talked about the Patriots upsetting the Bills. We looked at the grades from all 12 games that were played early Sunday and Thursday. We looked at observations from Tim 20 Man about the Lions, and we had 8 takeaways from the Lions game over the Bengals. Tomorrow we'll talk news and notes from around the league, look at the Lions injury report, and start to get ready for the Kansas City Chiefs Sunday night. Hopefully you guys all have a good start to your week. You go skiing down the rest of the hill for Monday into Tuesday before midweek Wednesday, and after Wednesday, well, it's all downhill from there into the Sunday or into the weekend. Try and stay out of trouble. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, guys. We'll catch you back here tomorrow at 10 a.m., 11 a.m., from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. I got to figure out how to say that properly. From 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. here at youtube.com/The Hat and Beard Show. I've been Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. Until then, bonga bonga. Frig off.